Welcome back to the podcast. Today I am joined again, as per usual, by...
Surprise! I'm back.
By the one and only, the legendary, the great Jordan Kidis.
Thank you.
What an intro.
Pressed the wrong thing. It would have been good if I pressed the right one. That one.
That would have been.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here, my friend. How are you?
Good to be here. Very good. How are you?
I'm good. Very good.
Good stuff. What's been going on?
What's been going on? We have been a little bit busy lately. It has been good. We're still kind of getting quite a lot of like branding and website projects, which is really exciting. But we are kind of shifting our focus in our service offering a little bit because we're getting such an influx of conversations about CRM development, so customer relationship management software, and how it can improve your business and the benefits of it for small and medium businesses, which is very topical.
Yep.
Because it's what we're going to talk about today.
Amen to that. In a nutshell, what is a CRM and how does it work?
It's a very good question. So a CRM is a software solution or a customer relationship management software solution that helps businesses to manage interactions with their customers, leads and existing customers. So it just kind of is this centralized hub of information where you can store data, you can store information about what you're talking to these people about and what you could be talking to them about.
And can this work for any service business?
Yeah.
But it's not really an e-com thing, is it? Mainly service-based businesses?
Well, I mean, e-com does kind of build it out through profiles in like Klaviyo as an email management tool.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I guess you can use it. How does it help nurture leads and track those customer interactions and sales?
Yeah, I mean, it helps to identify opportunities we've spoken about before in terms of the buckets that you can put clients in or potential clients into your business. But you can use it to track leads and your sales pipeline more effectively in terms of what people are looking for, what particular service they're after, what that particular quote could look like if you're in the service industry, and just kind of providing better insights into who you're speaking to so you can have a really detailed conversation with them, which can ultimately help. If you have a sales team, it can help them close that lead because you're holding more information, so it's a much more personalized conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I use a CRM personally for Grayspace, and if I didn't use it, funny story, we're getting a big influx of customers through like the Rask group, so like discovery calls for debt recycling. It seems to be the hot topic for Rask listeners, and I was like, how are we going to cope with all these? If I didn't have a CRM, I would literally be like 6-7 calls a week, and you have to remember who they are. What did you speak about? What service do they need? Because everyone's different. If we didn't have a CRM, things would fall through the cracks. And a couple have where we just didn't track it properly. So it's really prompted us to get on top of that because it's the first interaction someone has with your business is that initial call. And if you don't follow them up or if you don't send them what you've said you're going to send them, you're starting off on the wrong foot. The return on investment when you are using a CRM, it's huge because you'll find that you eliminate a lot of those little issues that do happen when you're doing sales because as the business owner, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
So if you can try and yes, the software can be a bit pricey, but if it eliminates any bad customer interactions from the get-go, it's a no-brainer.
And I think it's going back to that like return on investment as well.
Yeah.
Better customer retention, probably better conversion rates, all of those things. So yes, the initial outlay might be a little bit higher, but what the impact is going to have on your business moving forward.
For sure.
I think the other thing that's probably really important to touch on is the misconception that I only need this if I have a big business.
I was that person, to be honest, at the start because I had no idea.
Yeah, of course.
So it's so true.
And I think it's like so important for any size business, regardless of whether you're a solo entrepreneur, you have 10 clients, you have 50 clients, you have 300 clients. It is just a way of storing information about your customers, which is going to allow you to have better conversations with them. And how long you're working with them for. It can help you. I know businesses that use it to help project like financials as well to understand, okay, cool, this is what I'm working on this month or this project goes for 3 months. This is who the customer is. This is what the revenue looks like. I'm going to put that into my cash flow spreadsheet. I know what my priorities are this month. So there's just so many ways that you can utilize a CRM outside of, who you are and what you do.
For sure. You can also get onto it from the start as well because a lot of these software we'll run through them, but a lot of these platforms and the software providers, they have like a tiered system. So even if you wanted to get started and you are a smaller business, you do have that option where you don't need the full shebang and all the bells and whistles. You can just get started on collecting client data.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's wildly easier when you start small rather than when you have 30 businesses or 40 businesses on your books that you're working with, and you have to kind of backtrack, you have to find where you've stored all of that information, you have to put it into this system. If you're looking at hiring someone, the last thing you want is like a never-ending note stock with all your information in, or a filing cabinet with handwritten notes, or it just to be in your brain, which is what a lot of business owners do.
So true.
So whether you're hiring someone or not, starting small when you have 2 clients is kind of the best place to start, because you can workshop it, you can figure out what that workflow looks like, you can figure out what the process looks like, if it's working, if it's not, if you like the system, if you like the CRM that you're using, before you pay a huge chunk of money, because you might be paying, per client or per size of people that you're working with. Whilst you're small, whilst the costs are low, test it out.
Amen. Get it done.
Yeah.
A lot of them have free trials too. So get onto it.
Yeah. What are some of the best CRM tools, software that you can think of for small businesses and startups?
Yep. The one that comes to mind, well, there's a few. HubSpot.
Okay.
But that is a bit pricey, especially if I think it's pricey regardless.
Very pricey.
Yeah. Even at the, they do have a section for small business, and I think it's about $30 a month, but it is pricey. Apparently that's best in class for small business. But I know Owen uses ActiveCampaign.
Yes.
And we use that too at Grayspace.
We use that
as well.
Yep.
That's good too. It's a bit cheaper. It's a lot cheaper actually. I've also played around with Pipedrive. That's actually the first CRM I ever used.
Interesting.
Was Pipedrive.
Okay.
And to be honest, it's probably still like functionality wise.
Super.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I still do. I've got it open now. I'm like, why did we not use it? Because it was $80 a month. That's why.
Yes.
It gets expensive the more bells and whistles you add, and now with all the AI buzzwords and whatnot, they just extra $30 a month. But I'm sure it'd help with efficiencies.
Yeah. And I think, we've spoken about it a lot, and I talk about Klaviyo a lot, but that's really fantastic for e-com businesses. Shopify as well have their internal CRM. The combination of those two integrate natively with one another. So if you're an e-com business, regardless of size, Klaviyo is really fantastic.
Yep.
It does have its own kind of customer data profiles or portal center, which essentially houses all of your information about your customers and builds out different tags and information based on behavior traits that they carry out with your business.
Yeah, cool.
Accounting, you mentioned Ignition quite a lot, and Carbon.
Yes, we use Ignition and Carbon there. Ignition can be used for any service-based business for billing and proposals. Carbon is very specific to the accounting space. That's what we use personally. But if you're a bigger business, we said HubSpot's the biggest one, but it's probably Salesforce by a country mile. If you're a massive business, that's generally what they use. Have you ever used it?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, nor have I. I've seen it. It looks a bit scary. There's also Microsoft Dynamics too, which is also for big businesses. So if you're a big business listening to us, I'm sure you're all over it. But in that smaller sphere, it's generally ActiveCampaign. Zoho, have you used Zoho?
No, I haven't. One of the companies I used to work at was kind of playing around with Zoho when they were shifting out of Pipedrive into another different platform.
Why did they shift out of Pipedrive?
I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Fair enough.
What are some of the best practices for setting up a CRM?
You need to have buy-in from everyone. You need to make sure that everyone, because if you're rolling it out and if it's yourself that's going to be using it, that's all good because I'm sure you'll get it done. But you want to make sure everyone's using it and following the process. If you're having a meeting and it's a sales meeting, you want to make sure you're logging it, you're following the steps, all the information's in there. Because if you're putting crap data in, it's pointless.
Would you say that's why sometimes businesses fail?
100%.
With their CRM?
Yep. I have.
Yep.
Where you have it all set up. Yeah, cool. And then it's like, it'd just be easier if I hand wrote it. Or you just don't fill it out sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. That's what does cause it to fall over, for sure.
Do you think you can get overcomplicated with a CRM? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because again, like I look at HubSpot, and when I did a bit of a deep dive into that, there's just so many things, and like you get caught up in setting it up and making it all pretty and it looks good. But at the end of the day, if you're not utilizing it for sales or for managing your customers, it doesn't matter if it's got all the added extras.
Yep.
So yeah, you can get a bit of analysis paralysis too, where it's like, where do I even start? There's so much to do. So in its most basic form, just use it to log your meetings, client information, proposals, all of that stuff. Track where everything's at.
Yeah, and I guess keeping it up to date is the key.
Yeah.
Because dead data is useless. It's not worth having a whole bunch of information that was relevant 6 months ago. If clients have left, or you've adopted new services and you're increasing servicing fees, or you're changing services, whatever that looks like, if you're just, you haven't adopted the CRM system effectively in your business, whether it be through you or your team members, it's called data hygiene, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just keeping clean, accurate data in your system.
Yep. And that goes across your whole business too, not just in the CRM, but you want to make sure you're getting into these good habits from start to finish.
Yeah. And then I guess it's the next thing as well is building that out even further. So kind of step one is, start with your CRM. How can you loop automations into that CRM system to save you more time?
Yep. Is this stuff that you guys do at Inflection? Do you do a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we're getting more and more requests for, and we have more and more conversations with businesses about.
Yep.
And I think it's because there is an element of education out there now, and people are kind of talking about it and understanding whether it is a business that's transitioning through generations, like a parent's business that's transitioning onto a younger generation, whether you're looking to sell, whatever it looks like, whether you just want to essentially run a tighter ship. Setting up a CRM and setting up automations is something that we're having a lot of conversations about, which is really exciting. It's sort of a shift in where we are focusing at the moment, and potentially where we might continue to focus for the rest of 2025.
Yeah, cool.
I'm really passionate about it because I think that it really does save a whole chunk of time.
Yeah.
And in my own experience, but also in the businesses that we've worked with that we have rolled this out for, they have had a huge weight lifted off their shoulders.
Yeah, for sure.
A massive time.
For sure.
That they get back.
Where does it all, like in your tech stack for your business, where can you implement these automations? So let's say you're using, ActiveCampaign. How can you put automations in place to make the whole machine run more efficiently?
Yeah, I think first thing is like map out your workflow, obviously, like what your kind of process is for a piece of information. Where does it go? Who does it go to?
Yep.
Does it need to go to that person? How does it need to go to that person? When does it need to go to that person?
Yep.
And does it need to kind of go anywhere else? And once you've and you can kind of physically write that out on a sheet of paper. And once you figure that out, then go, okay, well, what systems are out there? Or what systems do I already use that I can improve and develop on and create automations through? Or do I need to engage in a software like Zapier or Make or some of the others out there? Or are there automations automatically built within the program that you're using that you can set up?
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of them do have that now.
Yes.
The software companies are starting to build out these automations.
Yeah, and it's essentially these programs are becoming like an all-in-one, one-stop shop for everything for your business.
And it hasn't been like that since, pretty recently, to be honest, where it was mainly focused at these bigger businesses. Like we mentioned at the start of the episode, it's now transitioned into smaller businesses because the smaller businesses have identified that if we can get on top of this, we can just really drive profit and drive that customer retention. Whereas traditionally, if you look back 10, 15 years, I'm sure a CRM, I could be wrong, but my opinion is that 10 years ago in a small business, these things would have been quite unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, one of the clients that we're working with at the moment, it is a business that's transitioning from a parent down a generation to, the younger generation that's taking it over. And the quote unquote CRM that existed was a bunch of handwritten notes in a filing cabinet all across the warehouse.
Yeah.
And then so the daughter's come into the business and is like, where do I find information on this? So what we're doing and what we're helping her with is building out this CRM based on all of the different types of businesses that she works with, all of the different case studies, looking historically, what kind of interactions she has with her customers. And we're building out this automated CRM system with her to help transition all of the information out of that filing cabinet and handwritten notes in the warehouse into a digital platform.
And with that, do you draw a line in the sand and just say, everything from X date is going to be in the CRM, or do you import? How do you do it?
It's a good question. We're figuring out at the moment because there's a lot of information that isn't on an Excel spreadsheet, for example.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of stuff that
heavy.
she has been working on to move it out of a filing cabinet into a spreadsheet.
Yep.
And then we can export the information from that spreadsheet into the platform that we're using. But there is a bunch of information that is just lost, unfortunately.
But it's good. It's good to see that people taking over, whether it's a parent's generation business or even starting from scratch, that this is at the forefront, because it really is that first interaction with a customer or with a potential customer.
Yeah. How did you choose what CRM you wanted to use for Grayspace? Is it trial and error?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Because at first it was Pipedrive, and then I think I spoke to Owen about ActiveCampaign, and now we're with ActiveCampaign. Yeah, and Owen gave me heaps of tips on how to set that up, and I think we actually set that up at a very similar time, but he uses it much more thoroughly than we do. I think ActiveCampaign is really good from the email marketing standpoint, but after a bit more research, I think that there are other platforms that are more powerful than ActiveCampaign. From a CRM standpoint.
Okay. What are some examples?
I think HubSpot is the superior, but it's like 10 times the price.
Totally. Yeah.
So trade-off. And look, as soon as you add more seats, it doubles again.
Yes.
Whereas ActiveCampaign isn't too bad. I think it's a couple of $100 a month.
Yeah.
We paid for it up front, so we could save, I think, 30%. A lot of these companies are doing that now as well, where if you do pay up front, you'll save 20-30%. And I think that gets us like 3 or 4 seats or users, however you say it. Yep. So we will stick with ActiveCampaign, but we just need to follow it a bit tighter.
Yeah.
What about you?
A little bit of both. I think previous experience from different companies I've worked in and different software that they've used. But a little bit of playing around in terms of our invoicing software. When we first started out, we were using one that looked pretty, was easy to use,
it was nice.
Looked nice.
Took 90% of the in fees.
Yeah, the fee was huge.
Yeah.
It was, I can't remember what it was, but I just remember being like,
whoa.
First payment came through and I was like, whoa, where's the rest of that money gone?
Yeah. It was like more than 4%, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 or 6%. It was, and we were all just pretty shook by that. But yeah, so then it was obviously a pretty quick scramble to be like, all right, what are we doing now? Because we don't want to continue with this. And now we are with Ignition, which is the same as you guys, and super easy to use, super user-friendly, great place to hold a whole bunch of information, and stores all of our previous kind of leads and that kind of thing as well. So it was just kind of playing around and really happy with what we've got at the moment. Yeah,
for sure. And they're continuously building out that platform too, because like it's got the billing function down pat, but I think they're starting to roll out like an inbuilt CRM, which they should.
Totally.
Because like all the data's already there and it'll just make it so much more valuable. Like I don't know too much about the other ones, but I don't know if there's ones where you can do the proposal, collect payment and do all of that in the one platform and have your CRM.
Contract.
Yeah, a contract too, engagement letter for us. But yeah, it's super important. And it'd be awesome. And I'm pretty sure they are. I signed up for a beta version of some sort yesterday, but they are rolling it out. So that'll be cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, like you said, it kind of becomes like one source of truth. Yeah.
Which is important because there's so many, in this day and age, everyone's using so many different pieces of software. It'd be good if you can get that one-stop shop. But that's what you're working on at Inflection is trying to tie it all together.
But truly. So I mean, that's I guess an example of kind of where we were going to go to next is like the future of these CRMs and where we think they're going to go in terms of AI. How do you think AI is transforming CRMs and how will it continue to transform them in the future?
I think where it's going, I think a lot of these platforms will start to build like an end-to-end solution where it's not just a CRM in its traditional form where you're taking notes and working out at what point the deal's at. Look, Salesforce could be doing this. I'm not sure. I'm just talking about the smaller platforms that I've seen, but I think they're going to become a one-stop shop where you can collect payment, do your contracts, collect customer information, all of that stuff end to end. Whereas now you need a couple of different ones in order to do that, a couple of different pieces of software, I should say, in order to have that outcome. What about yourself? Where do you think it's going?
I think with that, building out that kind of future CRM in some of these invoicing softwares, I think there's going to be an element, whether it's in those existing ones or just independent CRM programs, is going to be like this increase or like hyper personalization that's possible through AI. I think AI will be able to jump in and analyze vast amounts of customer data and create these really highly personalized experiences that otherwise would take a human eye a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I think with that, it's probably going to be better like predictive analytics in terms of understanding customer behavior and churn risk and purchase intent and those kinds of things, depending on, you know, what your kind of historical data looks like in your business, but it could help you to proactively address potential issues that could come up and seize opportunities probably sooner than you would normally be able to. Because you've kind of got this system, this, you know, artificial intelligence system that's working in the background, providing you with information so you can create a better experience for your customers overall.
For sure.
And I think that like with that will probably come like enhanced automation, which is, you know, kind of, I guess, a combination of what we've sort of said all day today, is essentially that workflow automation, repetitive tasks, all those sorts of things, ways that it can ultimately boost efficiency within your business to free up time. And I think these CRM systems are going to be really, really great at it.
Yeah, I agree. And they're just going to get better over time.
Absolutely.
Especially with the open API. A lot of softwares that don't talk to each other now, I think it'll get to the point where AI is just going to mush them together so they can talk to each other. Do
you see there being any ethical considerations or like data privacy concerns with this implementation of AI coming into these CRM platforms?
I've actually never thought of that.
Yeah.
Even with the Zapier stuff, because you're sort of pushing data from one platform to another. I've actually never thought of that. That's a very interesting one.
Yeah, I know. I just was thinking of it as we were chatting and I was wondering, I mean, I guess that's just going to become a really core component, like at the forefront of
it definitely will.
These systems is like data security and how it can comply with regulations.
Because at the moment, I don't know if there is any. It's sort of just you hook Zapier up and it pushes everything through.
Yeah.
So I guess you are, as a user, accepting their terms of service and their privacy when you create a Zapier account, as you do with any piece of software.
Of course.
But what about the customer data? Like, is that in your engagement letter or your service agreement, whatever it's called? Good point. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting thing to watch as it probably unfolds.
Yeah, for sure. We had a Techspert session on Monday and we're speaking about the CRM side of things too. And Owen was able to jump in and share his screen and show everyone his. And it was awesome because I've seen it on the back end, but it was good to everyone else can see like this is what it should look like when you use it properly because theirs is all set up perfectly. I'm sure he wouldn't say that, but I'm going to say that. And if anyone has any questions around that, around CRM or questions about which software to use or if it's worth them setting up, we have a free session in our free community.
Yes, 20th of March.
Yes, 20th of March. So if you did want to join and ask either of us, myself, Zara, Dan or Owen, a question about CRM or anything business related, all you need to do is follow the link in the show notes, create a free account in our Circle community, and we'll have a link in there where you can set a reminder in your calendar to jump on our free Techspert session.
Yeah, and all the information in terms of topics that we're going to discuss, things you can ask us, will all be put in the free community as well.
Good stuff.
Really great opportunity.
For sure.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jordan. That was a good chat.
Yes, thanks.
Thanks for watching this video on the Rask Network. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get videos each and every day on business, finance, investing, and so much more.